And welcome back to my garden. The rain stopped, so I thought I'd make a film. Well. The chatter in the head continues, and the book chatter remains unfinished. Not much progress since last week, but life has been busy, and that's okay. I was wondering, what would I talk about this week? And I thought I'd put my cards on the table, so to speak. There's been an idea that has been nagging away at me, for the past few years. And I've spoken about it on this channel, but I want to speak about it again and in more emphatic terms, shall we say. Now, I've often discussed this idea, the kind of Kantian moral imperative, would that something be a universal law? Will it that something is a universal law, however it's phrased? I have the vaguest recollection of third-hand accounts, but the idea is, something is good morally if essentially everybody should do it. In very simple terms, we can use it as a sort of litmus test, shall we say, for actions, our actions, or for comments that people have made, the popular pithy phrases that one sees on the internet and are oft repeated. A classic, Gandhi's "be the change you want to see in the world." Well, that's a good thing. And if everyone lived that way, wouldn't the world be a better place? Of course, assuming the changes that people wanted to bring about were, generally speaking, good. If the change you wanted to see in the world was that the whole world was subservient to you, maybe not. It's a bit like the criticism of the famous golden rule, the commandment to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I don't know if it is a commandment. I don't think it is. Is it? Who knows? I'm not a biblical scholar. But it is, of course, flawed if you happen to be a psychopathic masochist. Well, then doing unto others, not good at all. One of the things that I've spoken a lot about is about living an extraordinary life. And I think that based on a very particular definition of what an extraordinary life is, that is something that we should all do. The world would be a better place if absolutely everybody lived an extraordinary life, where extraordinary is, in the terms roughly, loosely, the following sort of definition. An extraordinary life is one where the things we do with a mastery mindset, and things that lend themselves to a mastery mindset in the main. The things we do not prevent us meeting our commitments and responsibilities. The things that we do are of as much benefit to other people in some sense as they are to ourselves. Now, there might perhaps need to be other conditions added into that. But imagine for a moment that all the things that you did in a way where you followed the principles of mastery. And if they were things that perhaps weren't in themselves being mastered, they were catalysts for your own self-mastery. So the entertainment, distractions, relaxing activities. I'm sorry, after rain, very annoying fly, not relaxing. So these kind of activities are not precluded because they enable you to gain mastery over yourself, if only because resting is a necessary part of regeneration. And doing things for the benefit of other people as much as for the benefit of yourself is a good thing. What about the kind of converse? If we did things that didn't meet those criteria, well, actually, I think that leaves the world slightly worse off, if only because we are using precious resources. Some of them might be physical, some of them might be your personal energy, what you have to offer. You are using that for poor, dubious ends, or at the very least, you are wasting it. And I've thought about this recently, and I'd had another look at my Portuguese copy of Mo Gaudat's wonderful The Equation for Happiness, or Solve for Happy, I think it's called. That's the book. Solve for Happy. The ex-CEO of Google X, who wrote this fantastic book about his recipe for happiness and how it kind of helped him recover from the tragic death of his young son, well, young adult son, in a routine operation. And post writing the book, he's embarked on a project, I'm not sure how it's developed, to enlist 1 billion people on the planet in a pursuit for happiness under the terms he sets out. And I've been thinking lately, what if we were all part of a movement that pursued extraordinary lives? It might be a trickle at first, 1 or 2 of us loosely connected. Perhaps from there, via our interconnected virtual world, more soldiers at arms might be enlisted, and the trickle develops a little further. And what if it became actually a genuine movement, not a movement of the sort which solely benefits the person founding the movement, or at the very least uses the movement, hijacks it for their personal success. That is not what one is looking for. It would run totally counter to the definitions of an extraordinary life as I've outlined it. But equally, it is possible to eventually envisage a gathering of like-minded people that became strong, fortified, and followed the principles of the extraordinary life. And it's not an exclusive club. You know, as I've discussed before, for me, the beauty of this sort of definition is it applies as much to someone who chooses to be a simple homemaking parent, husband or wife, whether someone does a fairly menial task, whether your job is simply a small piece in a a big part in the social fabric, all these things can be done in extraordinary ways. And I would like to argue that they should be done in extraordinary ways. I'm also not suggesting that this is easy. To become an extraordinary parent, or an extraordinary domestic worker, or an extraordinary accountant or astronaut, I mean, it really doesn't matter. This is a lifelong pursuit, or perhaps more than a lifelong pursuit. But were we all pursuing that, I believe the world would be a remarkably different place, a much better place. So here's to living the extraordinary life. And if you'd like to join me in this quest, if like me, you're taking your first relatively tentative steps, and you have been for a few years, but you're beginning to see the green shoots of progress, as some economists like to mention it, describe it. Well, perhaps you can let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that's it. Here's to extraordinariness and a life of joy. And until next week, from a sunny Brazil, ciao.